friends, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, if you are watching the video or listening to the podcast, please make sure that you check the links down below. I'll be linking things like my gear, and also if you're listening to the podcast, the video will be linked. If you are watching the podcast audio will be linked. Because if you didn't know, these videos where I'm sitting down and talking on my YouTube channel anyways, they're also podcast episodes. So if you want to get up and walk around, you don't want your YouTube playing on your phone, you can just go listen to them. So links for that down below. It's available on 7 different platforms. But today, by popular demand, we're going to have a really open conversation basically about my multiple streams of income. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is something that I've kind of had to work up the courage to talk about because a lot of you have asked for it. I've done videos on like YouTube success. It's something I'm really passionate about, helping people actually get off the ground and start their channels. Not necessarily like a coach, like I don't want to coach people, but I love giving that advice because I've been in the YouTube industry for 10 years and I have several channels. One that was pretty successful. This one I consider to be pretty successful at this point, and a few that have flopped. So I feel like I have a lot of knowledge, and in those videos I mentioned that you shouldn't sell yourself short. So if you haven't seen those, I would recommend watching those or listening to the podcast. I will link them wherever is appropriate, wherever you're listening to this. But I mentioned that at one time, at like the height of my career, I had like 14 different streams of income, and now I'm sitting at about 6. And many of you wanted to know, in accordance with a YouTube channel, what that might look like. And yeah, so I'm just going to talk to you about basically my different multiple streams of income and how you really shouldn't settle on just expecting that your ad revenue is going to basically subsidize all of your income, because is that even the word I want to use? I don't know. I'm so tense right now. I need to calm down. I think it's because I don't have a lot of notes, and when I don't have a lot of planning around an episode, I feel like I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Like I just talk too much or too little. So you don't want to just assume, especially if you are going into YouTube because you want to make a career out of it, which there's no shame in that. I think a lot of people will tell you you're in it for the wrong reason if you're trying to make a career out of it. And I say yes and no to that. I do think if your only mission is to make money off of it, it's maybe not the best decision for you. But if it's something that you are genuinely passionate about and you do want it to be a career in the future or wherever you are currently, you do want to make it that, I don't think that that's wrong. So, but it's very important that you don't just assume that YouTube AdSense is going to make you so much money. Now, that does happen for some people. At the height of my gaming career, which a lot of people have asked for the link for this channel, you can find it. It's not like it's hidden, but it's something I don't really wish to talk about over here because it's not what I do. I might mention it or reference it, but I have kind of really walked away from that sphere because it's just not who I want to be and what I want to put into the world right now. But on my gaming channel, I would say at the height of my career in AdSense revenue, I don't think I ever made like $4,000 or more. Like I was maybe a month, and they don't take taxes, so you have to remember that you're gonna have to hold money back for taxes. I think at a height of my career made like $3,000 one month. So it's not like you're out here just like raking in millions. I think there's this weird misconception that when a video has a lot of views, you're somebody that's now making a crap load of money. And like I said, that does happen sometimes. Like there are people that their views are significantly high, but I feel like in order to make like a really good living just on AdSense revenue alone, you have to be hitting like 1 million views on your channel a month, or like you maybe could have under that depending on what you're trying to, I don't know what your needs are like. I don't know where you live. I don't know what the cost of living is where you are. So it's going to be different for everyone. But I feel like in my experience and from studying the algorithm, to actually live like really well, you kind of have to have, I'm going to say, upwards of 1 million views a month coming into your channel. So don't ever assume that AdSense is going to be like the only place that you'll make money. Is probably like the biggest number one mistake, but that can be a stream of income, and it can be the gateway that opens up all the other incomes for you, which is why I think it's so important to start with YouTube, and that's where I've always started, and I've kind of connected everything else. So that's, I guess, my number one is my first stream of income is from YouTube AdSense revenue. And with YouTube AdSense revenue, I kind of just covered it for you a little bit in what you can kind of expect in terms of earnings, at least to be comfortable, in my opinion. You're gonna want to be racking up like several $100,000 a month in views. And I feel it does fluctuate too, because advertising fluctuates throughout the year. Like, you're not going to have something super consistent all the time with YouTube. And I think that's another thing that people forget is, like, during the holidays, that's when a lot of companies will spend their ad budgets. And so you might make more in the month of December because of that. And then come January, there's this huge plummet because all of the ad companies have spent all their money in December marketing towards all of the like holiday ads. And now you're like, dipped extremely low from like sometimes January through March. AdSense is just like plummets for a lot of people because advertisers are not spending money on ads at that time because they just dumped their budget in December. So that's another reason I do feel like it's so important to have multiple streams and not just assume that YouTube is going to be your only thing if you're going career YouTube. Now, let's go ahead and get into my specific other streams of income. And then there's like one other that I think I could add in, I guess, depending on what you're doing. But the second one is going to be merchandise. I think this is something that a lot of people don't think about, and it is very easy. Now, if you're going to want to go out and do like your own printing and all of that, you're going to be spending so much more time. And I feel for me, that might be something down the line that I would love to do if I ever expand to that level, have my own like printing company that does my merchandise. But at this time, when it's just me, myself, and I, absolutely not. I do have an artist that I work with frequently. I will put her information down below. I believe she is open for commissions right now, but you can, with an artist, you do need to ask permission because usually there's an extra fee attached if you're going to sell the piece that you commission from them on t-shirts, mugs, things like that. They usually ask for the rights, like you have to pay for the rights to that piece. And like I said, I have an artist that I work with and I've worked with for years that has done all of my merchandise for all of my platforms. And even the merchandise that you see now, it should be linked, like, I think over here somewhere, maybe over here. I'm not sure how this flips, but there's like a sweater that I recently launched and there will be new merchandise come October. So YouTube actually makes this really easy for you. If you want to connect your merchandise through YouTube, you can. You do have to have 10,000 subscribers before they will let you do that, which I didn't know that. I was already at 10K when I went to go and connect it. So that was new information to me. But basically the way the merchandise works is you put your merchandise up once on another company's shop that does it for you. They do all the printing, the shipping, the customer service. You don't handle any of that. You just give them the art and your, like, I guess your stamp of approval saying like, this is my art, I'm allowed to use it. And that's just another source of how you can get money. Now, you don't receive the whole amount that this is why down the line, if you're ever able to, I would encourage like open your own printing company, do it yourself, because you will get to keep so much more of that revenue. But upfront, I don't think it's a huge fraction, but you will make money, a commission through your merchandise sales. The third stream of income, which this one I feel like is significantly more reliable, that I'm surprised how many YouTubers are not doing this. And that is through links, through affiliate marketing, I believe is what it's called. And I do mine through Amazon currently, but through affiliate links, basically you sign up. I don't know what the process is because I signed up for mine many, many, many years ago and I've used the same one for all of my stuff. So I don't know exactly if there's like a threshold or a cutoff that you have to even be considered. But with Amazon links, basically what I do every time I make a video is I look at all the tarot decks that I have used. I look at any products I've recommended. And now I'm very honest about this. I would never like throw something in a video just because I want to recommend it. Like, I hold myself to a very high standard, even when it comes to sponsorships, which we'll talk about later. I hold my channel and myself to an extremely high standard. So you better believe if I'm ever recommending something to you, it is something that I have used and I have trusted it and has been with me. And also I always link my tarot decks because so many people ask, and why not? It doesn't cost you anything extra if you purchase a tarot deck that I have linked, but I get a kickback on that. So using just products that you're using in your videos, having those affiliate links is another stream of income. Basically, somebody clicks on that. If they make a purchase, I want to say it actually puts like a cookie in your browser. And if you continue to this is what I've heard. I don't know if this part is 100%. So apologies if I'm wrong here. Somebody correct me. But I've heard that it actually stores like a cookie in your browser for a certain amount of time. And whatever purchases you make through Amazon, I get like a commission of those purchases. And it's just because you've used my links initially to enter Amazon before you made purchases. So there's that. That's another one that I feel like I said, a lot of people don't do that. And I'm surprised when I see it, when I go to other people's channels and I check their description for something, how many people are not using links, because it's something that is so ridiculously easy. Amazon generates the links for you. You just have to copy and paste them over. And it's like one of the easiest ways you can make extra money. Now, the next thing, this is one that is new to me, but I feel like it has been very successful for me, and I'm so grateful. But that is I talked about this in one of my other videos, but to spread out your content. Don't put yourself all in one box. And I have a podcast. I have a podcast that this video that you're watching right now, if you're watching the video, or you might be listening to the podcast. Both of these are identical in audio format, except the one has video and one does not. And what I've done with that is I make money on my podcast. It's not a lot currently, but I make money on my podcast, and I also make ad revenue here on YouTube. And the reason that is great is, number one, I'm not making more work for myself. I literally spend maybe 40 minutes a month putting together all of the videos that I have made and just compressing them into audio files and pushing them to a schedule for my podcast. Literally 40 to 45 minutes a month, and I have 4 episodes for that month to go out. So it's like not even an extra hour of work now that I've initially set it up, and I get to make extra income for work that I've already done. I just put it on 2 different platforms, if that makes sense. So I highly encourage, if any of you are considering that, I'm sad that I don't think I have an affiliate link for them, but if I can get one, I will put it below. I encourage everyone that does sit down talk videos like this, start on Anchor. Anchor, and this is not sponsored by them. I just genuinely love their platform. They have done so much for me. I've ran multiple podcasts at a time before, or I've been like guests on one or helped set them up. And Anchor for podcasts, I believe it's anchor.fm. Anchor, you get to make money off of your podcast right away. You don't have to wait for something. There's no threshold you have to hit, at least at the time that I'm creating this, there isn't. And they let you put advertisements in your podcasts right away. So you already make money every time people listen to your podcast, which is awesome. Well, I don't know if it's every time. Like, it might be you make so much per so many listens, but basically I'm getting AdSense here from that. And then on my podcast, I'm also getting revenue from people that just want to listen to the audio. So, and what's great about that is if you start something like that, let's say YouTube goes down, I still have my podcast as a fallback, or my podcast goes down, I still have my YouTube channel as a fallback. So I'm not putting all of my eggs into one basket, but the work is extremely easy. So if you're thinking about setting up a podcast and doing that, take it from my book. Like, go listen to the podcast, link below, and see kind of how I've done that. Like, I don't believe in copying unless somebody literally takes your content and re-uploads it. So I feel like we all learn from each other, and I would love if you learned from me. So I have like a different intro that I just drop the audio into and a different outro, and I want to say on Anchor, again, this is not sponsored, I just really love them. Anchor also gives you the ability to edit your podcasts in their web browser. Like, they give you every tool that you need to start a podcast there. And to me, there's like no reason not to be doing that. If you have content like this, like what I'm doing now, there is no reason to not be diversifying yourself and putting it in both places. Now, the next one is kind of iffy because this is not a guarantee, and it's something that currently right now I pour all of it back into my business. And I think a lot of people that have limiting beliefs around money will have a hard time with this one. And I know y'all exist because you come for me in my comments sometimes. But donations are something that you could consider. It depends on what you're doing. I feel comfortable with myself asking for donations if people feel compelled, because I am providing a free service no matter how you spin it, especially on my tarot readings. I am providing free service to do group messages like that, and that takes a lot of energy for me to do those. Now, do I expect it? Absolutely not. Do I do it because I want that, because I expect these donations? Absolutely not. However, I think if I could leave you with anything about asking for money, because I know a lot of people like cringe even when they think about that, is you have to have the assumption that anybody who gives money to you to further what you're doing, anybody who gives money to you, always anticipate that they are somebody who genuinely has so much abundance that they want to give it. Don't anticipate that you're putting somebody out or doing something that's bad or malicious, or you're taking from someone else, because frankly, people shouldn't be giving to you if they can't afford to do it. It's something that you should want to give to others. When I kind of treat it how I treat myself. When I give to others because I am so abundant, I always I don't anticipate something back. I don't anticipate that they need to thank me 1,000 times, that now I own them somehow. No, I just think, oh, this person is doing some really cool stuff, and I want to give them this money to help them. Or maybe I want to support a charity or whatever, however I do that. I do my best every month to make sure that I am putting a percentage of my earnings into just putting money back out into circulation. And so with that, there is a lot of limiting belief work that has to be done, in my opinion, to even be open to receiving donations for a lot of people, because we come, especially if you're around my age, you come potentially from a generation that life had to be hard, and that's just how it is. And we can't expect free handouts, or you can't take a free handout. You have to do things the hard way. And frankly, what a way to not live. What a way to put yourself in a hole and to expect that people that have money that are giving are malicious, when really it's the opposite, at least in my experience. So donations I put in here because currently so many of you have given to me in such a kind, loving manner that I've been able to purchase new decks to make more readings for you all. I've been able to pour it back into my business to make my business even better for you. And that's kind of how I look at it, is you're not even necessarily paying for my livelihood. You're paying for me to be able to do more for you. And I feel like even I struggle with limiting beliefs around receiving money from others, and it's something I'm still working through. So just keep that in mind. That might not be a viable stream for you at this time because you have healing you need to do around money. And my last personal stream of income is sponsors. Now, we have not had anyone on this channel sponsor us yet. I mean, technically, I think the Witch's Moon used to send us free stuff a long time ago, but I don't believe on this channel I have yet to accept money from a company to put something on this channel. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because I have an extremely high standard. If I put somebody on this channel, they will have to meet a very strict criteria, because I'm never going to recommend to you someone or something that I don't believe in, or I don't use, or I don't love. And so you can always expect that from me. I'm very choosy. I'm never just going to do something because I want material gain from it. I'm always going to put you and your value first before even myself. I'm going to think about the effects of that to where I'm putting it. And some people don't run their businesses like that, and that's totally okay. Whatever floats your boat. But for me, sponsorships, though, a lot of times I have never really worked with too many large companies. Even back when I was doing gaming, with sponsors, I really didn't do that many of them. I've always been picky about this stuff. For the last decade, I've always been picky about who I will work with. And even in terms of sponsorships, I've never had a sponsorship that's been like astronomically like financially abundant, maybe like a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, but I've never been at a point where I've like had a really high level contract. So I can't really speak so much on that, but it is something that you can do. And I frankly, this is something that I recently learned from the bougie psychic, Courtney, if you know who that is. She's lovely. She recently was posting on Twitter about how masculine business and feminine business are just so different. Masculine business says, I'm going to make myself into the ideal candidate that people want to work with. And feminine business says, I'm going to be my authentic self and I'm going to attract people that want to work with me. And my gaming content, when I used to do that, it was very masculine. I'm going to make myself into who they want me to be. And over here, I am very much in the divine feminine and very much in the I'm just going to be who I need to be and the right people are going to come to me. And so far, that has been true. I have had offers from sponsors that we haven't made any official agreements yet, but I'm starting to see people that line up with me showing up in my inbox. So I do feel like there is something to be said about sponsors. I feel like this podcast episode is all over the place, but those are the streams of income right now. So YouTube AdSense, merchandise, links, like Amazon type links, my podcast, donations, and sponsors. And the extra one that I want to throw in here for some of you is something that if you have the time, like if you're someone that really isn't doing anything with your time, and I don't mean that as a criticism, but you actually have free time on your hands and the equipment, like Twitch is a very viable source of income. And Twitch is not just all gaming. I think I said that, in a recent video that I had done. I talked about like how Twitch was in gaming, but Twitch is not just gaming. People have cooking channels, people have crafting channels, people have tarot channels. There are so many things that you can do on Twitch. If I wanted to be on Twitch right now, I could be, but it's another source of income that, to me, it's again goes into that don't put all of your eggs in one basket. It is another thing to learn and another thing to expand into. It's not something that's just going to grow overnight usually. It's a lot of work. And that's why I said, if you're somebody that like you really like, you maybe aren't employed right now, or you're not in school, or both, and you're just vibing and you have the time and equipment, like it is something to consider. For myself, it's too much for me. I've done YouTube and Twitch at the same time, and it was way too much for me. Some people, like if I had a team, sure, but it's just me, myself, and I, and it was too much work. And Twitch is also very different in the sense that you will spend the same amount of time making content, even if you're live streaming or filming it. Like the time that you spend live streaming, because you have to be live longer usually to actually attract an audience, is the same amount of time you will spend filming a 20-minute video and then editing it and getting it all together. So don't let anybody fool you and tell you that like one is easier than the other, because they are both just as time consuming when you break it down. And it's really about the format that you enjoy more. But like I said, if you got the time, I highly recommend trying to do both. But those are just my current streams of income. I hope this helped you kind of open and expand your box and your mind a little bit into what you can do once you've started like one thing where you can continue to branch out. Because some people start podcasts and then start a YouTube channel. Some people start a Twitch channel and then start a YouTube channel. Some people have merchandise and then decide they want to start YouTube. Some people have a Twitter where they just do a bunch of tarot threads and then they're like, oh, I should diversify. I'm going to put myself on Twitch and YouTube, you know? So there's so many ways to put yourself out there and different ways to make money. Don't get stressed out. And I've been prey to this, so I get it. Don't let yourself freak out when it's like, I only made $40 here and $20 here and $3 here and $6 here. And, you know, some of it like feels smaller, because when you all put it together, like you end up making so much more than you think. Like don't let your monkey brain make you feel like it's not enough, or like you're not doing enough or not making enough. Let it be easy. You will always know if you are in the flow of your creative process. And with your multiple streams, if it feels easy, it shouldn't feel like you're driving yourself into the ground. I mentioned in one of my more recent videos that I used to have 14 streams of income at one time, and it was way too much. Like, I could not do it. I was very unhappy. I was driving myself into the ground. I burnt out. It was part of what triggered my dark night of the soul. So but I hope this helped. I know it was kind of all over the place, but I hope that it just gave you kind of some insight into the things that you can do, what you might consider, how you can kind of branch out from just one thing. And I will leave links down below to what I talked about if I'm able to, especially if I have referral links, I'll put those. But even if they're not referral links, like, I'll try to find like where you can sign up for affiliate marketing, where you can sign up to make your merch store, things like that, if you want to go into that. So I love you all so, so much. Please remember that when you stand up in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful day.